Alright, so this tutorial is going to be a little trickier than my last few that I've made in the redstone department, but it's going to make for a really good trap, and I think that you will enjoy it. So this trap will simulate the ceiling caving in, basically falling down on you, suffocating you, and then obviously killing you. So this is going to work from above and come down and then kill you. And okay, so you can see down the hallway right now. In a previous tutorial, you could very easily see the pressure plate, or in this case, you can't really see any pressure plates or tripwires for that matter, and I'll explain why in a minute. So everything seems to be pretty well disguised, and if I were just walking down this hallway, I would see really nothing to worry about. So why don't I just pretend like I don't know what's about to happen and just walk down this hallway? So I'm just walking down, and okay, I'm literally stuck. Yep. At this point, I would be dead. Of course, I'm in creative mode, like I always am, so I'm not dead, but yes, I just got caved in. So what exactly just happened here? You can see I'm above the trap right now, and this is the gravel that fell on top of me, and I was actually about right here when it came down. The one flaw to this is that here is the string, so there's the little tripwire that I tripped over. In this whole trap, the only flaw is if I am standing right where the tripwire is, then the actual gravel doesn't actually land correctly, and I would actually be, alive if I were to be standing perfectly right here when it went down. I would also be trapped though, so I would be stuck and I would have to crawl my way out. So how does it work? Well, let's clean things up here first. Okay, that's better, but let's go ahead and reset it to where it was before I set the trap off. Alright, there we go. So you can see that the pistons are holding everything together. They are pushed, they're turned on right now, and if they were to be turned off, they would close, the blocks that they're attached to would close with them, and then all of this gravel would fall down on top of whoever just tripped the alarm. So, which is basically what happened to me. So how does this all work at the redstone level? I think it'd be best if we work backwards. That way we can see where we are, where the pistons are, and then work our way back to where the tripwire is. And keep in mind that this is mirrored on the other side, so what you see on this side will be also the same on the other side. So, you can see here, we have all of our pistons lined up where the ceiling is supposed to be. That'll be the first thing you need to do. And then, of course, like I said in my previous tutorial, you're going to have a repeater next to each piston because that signal from the redstone needs to be guided right to the piston, and it won't do that if you just have a bunch of redstone next to each other. It'll be a line that goes across instead of directly to the piston. So go ahead and put your repeaters right next to the piston and then have your current connecting to all of them. Once you have that done, then you need some sort of redstone torch to keep them all turned on. So let's go ahead and move down here. This redstone torch, which is sitting on a block right underneath, is turning it's actually turning this one right here, this redstone on. That redstone, of course, is then transmitted all the way down the line, and so then all the pistons are turned on. So that's why everything is not falling right now, because of this lovely little redstone torch. So how do we get that redstone torch to turn off so that we can have the trap be activated? Well, right here, this is where on the other side of this block, we have that tripwire hook that's connected to the tripwire. When you trip the wire, the redstone will turn on, and the reason why I have this little setup right here, we've actually referred to this in a previous video where we were using it to make a loop, but in this case, we don't want that loop to be created. In this case, what's happening here is that when the signal comes in, it will be stuck. And I'll actually show that to you here. So this is essentially why I have this. When the current comes in from the tripwire, so let's say that this is the tripwire, we'll just use this to simulate the signaling of the tripwire. If I were to hit the tripwire and then quickly walk off of it, like if I were running through the hallway, something like this would happen. And then if that happens, we are going to have this little loop being created. That's not really helpful, so let's go ahead and destroy that. Second, if I didn't have this thing at all, so that when I walked over the tripwire, something similar would happen, whereas the current would just go through really quickly and then turn off. So those pistons that are sitting up here holding all this up, they would close for a second and then instantly close back on themselves. Which, what that's going to do is it's not going to allow enough time for all of the gravel to fall down. And if that happens and the pistons start to close before all the gravel's fallen, then you actually just kind of get stuck in a few piles of gravel and you're not actually fully caved in, which means you're not dead, and then the whole trap becomes pointless. So the reason why we have this is that as soon as the tripwire goes through, or as soon as the signal goes through, and actually I have this turned all the way up, I have it turned down as low as it can possibly go. So let's say even if I do walk over the tripwire pretty quickly, see, now the redstone current is stuck. So even if I were to destroy this, get rid of this, this is forever going to be on. And that's basically what's happening. When the tripwire is tripped, this current comes in, this right here goes through, and then it kind of makes that whole signal stuck so that it doesn't just turn on and then turn off as soon as you're off of the tripwire or the pressure plate or whatever it is that you're using. That's the whole point. We want this to stay on after you trip it. So once it's on, this will turn off. Once this is off, all of these will be turned off, the pistons will shut, and then you get caved in. So it kind of looks a little complicated at first, but it's really pretty easy to make. So that is really all there is to it. There's only one other thing that I'd like to point out. In this case, before in a previous video, I just had one of these little blocks with the tripwires going through. And basically, if you have this whole hallway solid and then you have one little section of the hallway that has a block cut out, you can kind of get the impression that there is going to be a tripwire there, because you kind of have that familiarity of how that works. So to kind of disguise it, I put these blocks in a pattern all the way down the hallway, and then there you go, you have one right there, but you don't really assume that it's going to be there. Now if I were to go really slowly, I could be like, ooh, there's a tripwire there. But if I'm just walking down a hallway like casually, not expecting there to be a trap, then I'm not going to really know that that's there. And the illusion that it's not there will be created by creating all of these other extra blocks to kind of not make this stand out if I were just to have these two blocks there. Because then as you're walking down the hallway, you're going to say, why are there 2 blocks missing from this wall? And then you would kind of get sketchy, approach it slowly, and then see the trap, and that would ruin everything because then you wouldn't get trapped. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed yet another redstone tutorial that I've created. I will be creating a few more after this one, and they will be a little bit more tricky than the one we just did, so they're going to kind of escalate and get a little harder as we go, creating more of a challenge for you guys and hopefully getting you guys into the game. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.